Avalon, meaning the island of fruit trees, is well known in the English legend as the place where King Arthur forged his sword Excalibur. Now, Toyota's very own Avalon will bear no fruit and also slip into legend. We're over at Automotive News. Toyota axing Avalon sedan after 2022 model year, following the trend of dying large sedans throughout the industry. This one comes near and dear to my heart, as you guys see me doing my old review on my 2004 Avalon XL that I got rid of to get the 2004 Sienna minivan. And it was a great car. If you want to see how far the channel has come and how my presentations change, you can watch that old Avalon review. But that doesn't change my love for the car. And this one hits home pretty hard today. Yesterday we talked about, or whenever you watched it, the NSX being canceled as we know it, the hybrid setup. And it is getting a Type S to go out with blazing glory. The Avalon's not going to go out with blazing glory. It's going to die with a whimper, and it's pretty sad. But hey, I've said for years that it doesn't make any sense for Toyota to have the Avalon. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But let's read this article from Automotive News. We'll also go into sales numbers, and then we'll go from there. Production of the Avalon began in Kentucky in '94, and it is being canceled after the 2022 model year. So if you guys want a little piece of history, the best Buick Toyota ever made. I saw that comment earlier. I thought that was hilarious, but it's so true. The thing rides like a cloud, or at least it used to. It's a little bit sportier now. Make sure to check out my review on the TRD Avalon. That car is so ridiculous. The US sales of the Avalon rose 37% to 10,000 units during the first half of 2021, compared with the pandemic-forced shutdowns of over a year ago, and it only beat the Maxima in the dwindling large car segment through the first 6 months of the year, and it's getting outsold by the Charger 4-1. US sales of the Avalon peaked at 103,878 in 2000. Now, if we go to car figures, I pulled up the Avalon sales, and you can just see how it from the mid-2000s, it's fallen off the cliff. Now, in 2005 is when they had that new generation. Also, 2000 is when they had the second generation. We'll get into the generations here in a little bit to get you guys up to speed. In 2013 was another new generation, I believe, and then it's just been a slip and slide ever since then. You know, in 2018, we got the 2019 Avalon, which is based on the TNGA platform, and it's just never going to recover, guys. It might get to 20,000 this year, but that's pretty much a wrap for the Avalon. And if you want to compare it in terms of sales, this is why I've said for years the Avalon doesn't really have a place in the market anymore, because it's sandwiched between two other existing cars that are very similar. All right, we have the Camry in purple. Let's just go to yearly sales figures right here. We have the Camry in purple. Can I zoom in? Avalon in the teal at the bottom. The Lexus ES is essentially the same car, and it doesn't sell for that much more money, but it is a nicer interior. You can't get heated rear seats in the ES in the United States, but you can in the Avalon. That always blew my mind. They come off the same assembly line nowadays. It's just stupid. The Dodge Charger would be its direct competitor, now that a lot of its traditional competitors have died from the Koreans and the domestic automakers, and the Charger outsells it massively. We said 4-1 earlier, but if we look at the ES, where they can make more profit as a company, I know it's a Lexus, but you know what I'm saying. The ES outsells it 2-1. And this is the same reason why Toyota canceled the Land Cruiser, because the LX outsells the Land Cruiser almost 2-1. So it is just, it makes sense. Makes sense. They can put their eggs more into one basket and focus on that one product to make it better. And that is the ES in this situation. But $43K in 2020 to $18K when you compare the ES to the Avalon. And I mean the Camry. The Camry is, yeah, the sales have gone down, but that's just a result of the market and where it's going. But I want to go through memory lane real quick and just talk about the Avalon. Rolled off the assembly line in Georgetown, Kentucky, where they still make it in 1994. Now Lexuses are also produced alongside of it. So what this is telling me is now that they're going to have more production capacity potentially for the Avalon, or sorry, for the Lexus ES. Maybe that'll help the Lexus ES be price competitive in the coming years, which it doesn't really have any direct competitors, the ES. So that's but other than the Avalon, and that's no more. So the ES is going to even sell better now. In 2013, the Avalon sold in the US, Canada, China, Puerto Rico, South Korea, and the Middle East. Now, it's always been front wheel drive, and also the newest iteration, which has a 4-cylinder, the first time ever has a 4-cylinder non-hybrid all-wheel drive system that we see in the ES now as well. It's a damn shame. But yes, it came out front wheel drive, V6, 4-speed, the 1MZ engine. I had that same engine, 4-speed transmission in my Avalon, which is the second generation. This first generation, my parents' neighbor still has one that looks just like this, and they're never going to get rid of it. Like, it just keeps running, and he doesn't have to do anything to it. So yeah, that just goes to tell you the legendary status and reliability of this vehicle. Then here are those examples of the Australian Avalon. Pretty cool. I'm not going to get into that. If you guys just go to Wikipedia if you want to read more about it. The second generation is near and dear to my heart. I owned one that looked very similar to this. I didn't have the alloy wheels. I had steel wheels, which is very rare. You hardly ever see a second gen Avalon with steel wheels, but I had the base model, and that thing still was smooth as butter. Lexus smooth. The interior wasn't as nice as a Lexus. I had cloth, but you know what? It felt like a Lexus when you drove it. The smoothness of transmission, the V6, and just it floated around like a cloud. Then the third generation came out. Remember, we saw that big spike in sales right here. 2005, almost 100,000 units. And this is where the Avalon became an even bigger beast. It replaced the 3-liter with the 3.5-liter 2GR FE engine, which we still see in different iterations in the Toyota and Lexus lineup. It had 280 horsepower, so it went from around 220 some horsepower to 280 horsepower. Huge generational jump. And a 0 to 60 of 6 seconds. That's still quick in today's terms. They ditched the 4-speed automatic for the 5-speed. Efficiency went up. I mean, it was just a wonderful car. This is a very popular generation. You still see it out on the roads, absolutely, as well as the first and second gen. And then here for the 2013 model year, remember we saw that last spike in sales here. This is when the 4th gen came out, and this model never did it for me. I wasn't a big fan. I reviewed it on my channel as well. It didn't have the same quality or quietness. The interior wasn't as nice as my 2004. So I feel like this is where the Avalon dropped the ball. And I don't know if it ever kind of had that same Lexus quality ever again. It has lesser quality materials. It's not quite as comfortable. But this 4th generation also brought Toyota's hybrid technology. So we were getting crazy fuel economy, 40 miles per gallon in this 4th gen hybrid Avalon. And the V6 stuck around, which was great. It got a 6-speed automatic, but it was never my favorite generation. I like the 5th generation better than the 4th generation. The 3rd generation is like ultra grandma grandpa, but I still like it. The 2nd generation is still number 1 in my heart. Like I said, I owned that vehicle in that specific generation, but the 5th generation is very similar, super similar to the Lexus ES, more so than ever before, it seems like. And when I saw this vehicle come out, have features like heated rear seats, I mean, it had it in the 4th generation too, which the Lexus ES here stateside never has had those heated rear seats, which is really strange where the Avalon did. I know that's a weird thing that I'm picking on, but it's so much easier to get like an Avalon with the heads-up display and all these new features compared to the Lexus ES. And it was always frustrating because to me, it was cannibalizing the sales of the superior Lexus ES by having technology and features that you had to spend a lot of money for in the Lexus ES. So Lexus and Toyota kind of shot themselves in the foot by not being able to make as much profit, in my opinion, on the higher equipped and lower price Toyota Avalon. So now in my experience of driving the 5th generation Avalon, to me, it's not quite as quiet. It doesn't float around like the old generations do, but it feels very much like the Lexus ES, and it was too close for comfort, in my opinion. It was closer than ever to the ES, and it just didn't make sense from a marketing standpoint. And that's, like I said, why they are probably canceling it. Let's focus on one large sedan in the Toyota Lexus lineup here in the States. There's no GS anymore, and that's just the ES. The Avalon's gone now, and Toyota's also reducing their body-on-frame SUVs, get rid of the Land Cruiser, focus on the LX. It sells here better anyways. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. I am sad that it's going, but I've said for years it doesn't make any sense for the Avalon to be around anymore. It's too close to the ES. They're cutting their own Lexus luxury sales by having this vehicle on the market. The TRD one I reviewed, such a fun, crazy vehicle. It has no place ever existing. A TRD Avalon, it makes 0 sense. I don't know why they made it. The Camry, yes, I get that, but not the Avalon. I don't get it, but it looks great. I think it looks better than the TRD Camry. But here's a final recap of all the sales here in the United States. You can see in other markets as well. We heard earlier it peaked in around 2000 with 104,000 units, but we also saw the graph at 95,000 units. And we'll just go back to the sales here of all its direct competitors, which is the Camry and the Lexus ES and then the Charger. And really the market has completely fell out beneath of it in this large full-size sedan market. There's just really not much out there anymore unless it's a luxury vehicle. And the Nissan Maxima is still in the market, which has blown my mind that Nissan has stuck to keeping the Maxima in the market as well. But sad times indeed if you are a long-standing Avalon fan. There aren't that many out there. It's kind of like the stealth wealth version of the Lexus ES. If you want that comfort, it's still a fairly expensive car, the Avalon. Not quite as expensive as the ES, but you can get great features and amenities in the Avalon for less money than you can in a Lexus. And it's so close in terms of the build quality and the quality materials. Maybe not quite as comfortable, but man, you can't get any closer. But guys, I'm going to end it there. Rest in peace, Avalon. If you enjoyed today's video, smash the like button, subscribe for more Toyota updates like this. More on the way, of course. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.